Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. Project Veritas drops their hair-raising results of a 9-month investigation into Biden's Department of Health and Human Services, the HHS. For months, we've been talking about the secret midnight flights and bus rides carrying legal immigrants, including unaccompanied minors all over the country. There appears to be a complete lack of vetting when it comes to who those kids get dropped off with, allowing adults with either no previous relationship to the minor or a tenuous relationship at best to get custody over them by posing as a sponsor or by signing up as one. A perfect breeding ground for human traffickers. Take a look at what this whistleblower told Project Veritas about what she saw going on behind the scenes.
The tax dollars of people who are listening are paying to put children in the hands of criminals. I said, I need to make you aware. And they said, Tara, we don't get sued by traffickers.
A government whistleblower has stepped forward to Project Veritas to detail her harrowing experience at the Department of Health and Human Services. In 2021, this whistleblower volunteered to assist HHS with the placement of unaccompanied minors and was deployed to the Migrant Emergency Intake Site in Pomona, California. There, she witnessed the agency failing these children, as she puts it, doing the work of the cartels on your tax dollars.
These vulnerable children, we care for them, we clothe them, we feed them. With your dollars and my dollars, we fly that product directly to the trafficker. God forbid it's sex trafficking.
Project Veritas embarked on a 9-month investigation across the country to corroborate our whistleblower's claims.
So he attempted to traffic children, and he's still at address in Texas.
Yes, we have 44 unaccompanied children at that address. We have 25 unaccompanied children at that address.
Project Veritas put boots on the ground, visiting scores of addresses the whistleblower shared from case files she worked on. What we found was shocking.
¿Quién te patrocinó a ti?
La tía, pero me corrió en la casa. Ella me ofrecía, y a mí no me gustaba eso.
¿Te ofrecía qué?
Me ofrecía con los hombres, pues.
Pero ella, ¿cuántos hombres ella te obligó a estar con cuántos hombres?
Bueno, con muchos, ni porque no me gustaba lo que me hacía, me obligaba.
¿Ella de verdad era tu tía o fue alguien que se...
Dice que ella me conocía desde chiquita, pero yo no la conocía.
Joining us now to discuss is Landon Starbuck, the founder and president of Freedom Forever. Thanks for being here tonight, Landon.
Thanks for having me, Kara.
So first off, can you just comment on really how heartbreaking this whole mess is?
Wow, I mean, listening to that entire video again, just it enrages me, to be honest. I don't think I've been this upset in a long time. About a year ago, I organized a march at the border to draw awareness to the human trafficking crisis, to the crisis of child exploitation. And very few listened. And I'm thankful that your, media, your show gave that coverage because this is such a big problem. We have since been investigating this for over a year, and I'm so grateful to Project Veritas for getting these people to go on record and expose this because we knew this was happening, and there's so many advocates fighting this and trying to uncover what has been happening. And so I'm so relieved now that we finally have a voice to this. We finally have people that are brave enough to put a face, to go on the record and show people what's been happening, because what we have here is government facilitated human trafficking operations at mass scale.
And talking about the mass scale, as you were saying, the whistleblower, when she had access to some of those case files before, the HHS kind of kicked her off the scene, but before they retaliated against her for speaking out, she was finding that some of these addresses that Project Veritas then went and verified, some of these addresses, as you saw with that one, that guy has 25 kids registered or whatever it was, unaccompanied minors living with them. All these sponsors being able to get so many numbers of kids, and the sponsors themselves, doesn't seem like there's a lot of tracking and a lot of vetting. You heard that poor 16-year-old girl. She doesn't even know if this woman who claims to be her aunt is really her aunt. She's being told, the woman says, I've known you since you were a child, but the girl says, I don't know you though. And now she's in this woman's hands, this predator's hands, really. No vetting. The whistleblower was saying that a lot of these sponsors themselves are here with, an undetermined legal status, whether illegally here or, not being citizens, but whatever the case may be, not a lot of vetting going on, would you say?
No, and this is something we've been sounding the alarm on for over a year, is that they're not doing background checks. They are not doing supervised visits. They're doing phone calls, which there's no way to screen for trafficking and sexual exploitation. Since then, we've seen trafficking and sexual assault committed in these detainment centers. There has been zero oversight, zero accountability, and we've been fighting so hard with FOIA requests and exhausting every avenue, every connection to try to get this administration held accountable, because what they're doing is beyond a mass dereliction of duty. It is they're consciously contributing and enabling the cartels. They're consciously contributing and enabling to trafficking operations and completely allowing children to go completely unchecked upon, and these traffickers are able to do their business out in the open. As that video said, they're not worried about being sued by traffickers. This is an open red carpet, from the open border policies all the way to zero oversight and accountability, nobody able to ask questions, nobody getting answers. How many sexual assaults, how many children exploited? Nobody can get these answers. Advocates, organizations like me that are here to serve these children, these vulnerable populations, if we can't get these answers, what else are they hiding?
And that's the big question then. Now, what are they hiding, since they're obfuscating and they're being very opaque, not transparent whatsoever? And I think perhaps part of it may lay in what you just said just a moment ago, where, as the whistleblower said, well, we're not getting sued by the human traffickers, of course. But then what she goes on to say is, who is suing them? The people who say, oh, these unaccompanied minors, they're in this government facility or that government facility for too long, for too many months or what have you. So you got to get them out. So that means now there's a perverse incentive to just offload them as much as possible into any sponsor that's willing to come along and vouch for the child and to take them to who knows where and for God knows what purposes. But do you think that's a perverse incentive that the HHS is kind of dancing to this tune, going, well, we don't want to get sued for holding on to these kids for too long, so let's just, push them out as soon as possible and we don't care where they end up?
Right. Well, I don't even think it's just about being sued. I think it's about the optics of this is why they have spread these children across all over the country, even in red states. My home state of Tennessee has accepted these unaccompanied minor children with very little oversight. And this is something that we're looking into deeply with my organization as well, because we need at a state level the AGs to step up and figure out where these children are and demand the accountability to verify and vet the sponsors, because there is a cash incentive for these subcontracts that are being handed out across the country. There's a financial motive and aspect to this crime that is occurring, and it needs to be investigated at the state level.
It is, and I just want to quickly pivot, since we're talking about children and protecting children. That's something that, of course, that you excel at, and you bring it to the forefront of our attention, because you're right, it doesn't get as much attention as it should be.